Okay, so last November, at the end of the autumn term, Andrew Duffy introduced us to the classroom, the Google Classroom. And I thought straight away that sounds like a good idea, because you can use the Google Drive to put all your eggs in one basket. So that's your assignments and schemes of work, lessons plans and so on, all of your admin as a teacher, in the same place effectively as the students' work. So the first thing I started to do was, where I'd been saving students' work on the shared drive, the network drive, the G drive, I was spending a lot of time at the end of classes creating folders on the shared drive and dragging and dropping students' work off of the desktop, which is by and large where they save stuff, even though they're told not to. The default space is usually on the desktop. So the first thing I did was introduce them to their Google accounts, which is the student number at g.bdc.ac.uk, and they've got Gmail there, which if they use regularly, it's great for feedback and contact with me, the tutor. And along with that, they have a G drive, which is, I believe, unlimited space for all of their coursework. So the first point of call is to get them to use their email and their G drive and get used to saving all of their work on the G drive, because then we can link it to a classroom afterwards. So after I'd introduced that, what I then did was create the classrooms. You might be able to see these as all my classrooms on my home screen for the Google Classroom here. Once they're created, you get a code and you send that code to the student, and the students punch in the code and they've effectively joined the classroom. What they then get is all of their assignments and all of their instructions and all of their resources attached to an assignment on the Google Classroom. And that's where they hand in work and submit work. And I get a message saying that the work is done, hopefully in time. So that's the way I've been using it since November, and yes, it's all of my classes, and it's all of my assignments, it's all of my lesson planning, it's also all of my kind of in-class resources and instructions and sort of materials for the students. It's all there, and and it's quite straightforward once they get used to using it to actually hand in their work and receive feedback from me.
So they can actually upload quite large movie files as well, can't they? As
yes.
well as documents to Google Classroom?
It's quite large JPEG image files and movie files will link quite easily to assignments and the Google Drive.
So it's documents,
movies. Actually, it's also had a big effect on written work, because you can create written work there, you can create documents or slideshows or spreadsheets using the Google Docs, slides and sheets, rather than the Microsoft and then uploading the Microsoft. A lot of students are still doing it that way.
But you can also, they share those documents with you, do they?
If they create it as a Google document, then it's already there, pinned to the assignment, which means it can't be lost. Whereas if it's a Microsoft Word, it can be lost, and you're nagging them to upload it later. Whereas if it's actually created as a Google Doc, it's there, and you can actually add comments to it. And
yeah, so do you ever do that?
With the student.
Do you actually
I do that a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of my feedback has actually come from a dialogue with the student based on a piece of work with a series of comments, and then the comments being accumulated into one space with a grade and the final feedback.
Great, so that's within Google Drive as well as the Google Classroom, isn't it?
It's actually a kind of a narrative, not a narrative, but it's a history of feedback.
So how has that helped you with your practice?
Well, it's helped me with my practice because you sort of are able to present an assignment with a lot more confidence, because you know it's not going to get lost or disappear, and you know that what you're showing them in class, where it would have traditionally been a presentation or something, that's kind of independent of actually what you're asking them to do. Whereas now with a Google Classroom, it feels like it's all one thing. So what you're actually presenting to them is part of the same project, the same thing that they're kind of working on and working towards and sharing with group as well as you.
And they can communicate on the classroom to each other, and they can access it at home.
Yes,
right?
so for example, a piece of written work that is actually a group work, someone in that group would create it and then share it to everyone